as I'm recording this, it's between a day-night doubleheader between the Phillies and the Cardinals. But there was something that happened in the game one, which the Phillies won 2-1, that had me shaking my head. And it's something that Rob Thomson has done. Now, let me just start off by saying I think Rob Thomson's a really, really good manager. There's not a ton to complain about because you just look at the Phillies' success throughout his tenure as manager. It's really good. You know, it's consistent playoff appearances. You had a World Series run. You went to the National League Championship Series. Like, not a ton that I can sit there and go like, man, like he's really slacking on this, especially compared to like previous managers. You know, I mean, Gabe Kapler just was in way over his head. Ryan Sandberg was horrible, but that doesn't mean that even the best managers aren't impervious to some hiccups, and you know they have something that they can change about their game that would probably improve the team. And there was two immediate thoughts that I had when it came to Rob Thomson changing this Phillies team to make them even better. It's not like the Phillies are a bad team. I mean, I expect them to make the playoffs, but you know, and to his credit, I think before the season I would have said here's three things. But he fixed the one thing, and that was getting Kyle Schwarber out of the leadoff spot, which I made a video about why that argument was dumb for years. It's still dumb. And shockingly, Kyle Schwarber is actually being productive, not in the leadoff spot. Who would have thunk it? But here's the thing and the genesis of this that really spurred this video on, was the Phillies are nursing a 2-1 lead going into the eighth inning. They had just taken the lead. Probably would have been 3-1, but I think Mason Wynn made an incredible throw to home plate. They gunned down Bryce and stopped. Fine. So you got a 2-1 lead. You just got the lead. And they go to the bullpen in the eighth inning. And who comes out? Jose Alvarado, their best reliever. Now, this isn't really the best time to make this argument because he didn't pitch all that great. In fact, he didn't even get through the eighth inning. They had to bring Ryan Kerkering in to finish off the job. But this argument is going to be true today. It's going to be true tomorrow. It's going to be true a week from now, a month from now. It's going to be true years from now. That Jose Alvarado, as it currently stands, is your best reliever by far. It's not close. It is Jose Alvarado, Matt Strahm, and shit. It's that clip from Moneyball. Here's the Yankees. Here's everybody else. And here's 50 piles of shit. And that's the Phillies bullpen right now. And yet, you're throwing Jose Alvarado out there in the eighth inning in a one-run game with a doubleheader going, so you cooked him. You're not going to bring him in game two if you're up. I don't know who they're going to bring in if they're in a safe situation, but I would assume you're not going to bring him in. I don't think he threw a ton of pitches, but still, you're not. So the Phillies are able to get out of it. And who do they bring in? Jordan Romano, who's been horrible. Now, again, not the best time to make this argument because Jordan Romano got through the inning. He gets the save. He got the save the last time. But here's my crux. Here's my problem with Rob Thomson. He has never, ever, ever, except one time, named a closer for this baseball team. And the one time was a future Hall of Famer in Craig Kimbrell. To the point where, like, if you didn't name him closer, you would have looked real dumb. But it seems like every year, the Phillies are having to go out and search for a closer at the deadline, for bullpen help at the deadline, because we sit there as fans and go, they don't have a closer. And they don't have a closer because Rob Thomson refuses to name a closer. Now, baseball is the ultimate creature of habit sport. You can ask any former player that played in the major leagues, and you know, I'm basing this off of Ricky Pitalico, who was a closer for the Phillies for years, but you can ask any of them. They like to know where they are. They like to know where they stand. They like to know if this happens, I'm going to play. If this doesn't happen, I'm not going to play. You get the idea. They're the ultimate creature of habit sport. So the fact that Rob Thomson continues to go this bullpen by committee bullshit, it's eventually going to bite them in the ass. Just name your best pitcher, your best reliever, your closer. And you know what? If it doesn't work out, if he implodes, okay, move him out. The good thing about Jose Alvarado is you know pretty quickly if he doesn't have his stuff. But Jose Alvarado has the mindset to be a closer. And forcing Jordan Romano in there, to me, is square peg round hole at this point. Jordan Romano might have a good start or two, or a good appearance or two, but he's cooked. He's absolutely cooked. And we all know what they're going to be looking for at the deadline. Because they've been looking for the same thing at the deadline for like 4 years now. Outfield help and bullpen help. And other than that, this team doesn't have a lot of holes. But the second problem I have with Rob Thomson is the catcher. The catcher who will be starting at catcher coming up in game number 2, JT Realmuto. So I have made the argument for years now that Rob Thomson has been driving JT Realmuto into the ground. And that is why come August, September, and October, when the games matter most, JT Realmuto looks a shell of himself. It's why JT Realmuto currently kind of looks like a shell of himself. We cling to this hope that he's still the best catcher in baseball, knowing full well he's not. Because Rob Thomson has driven this dude into the ground by having JT Realmuto start the most innings and play the most innings behind the plate out of anybody. And it's not even close. It is a wide, wide margin. When you look up at the stats, it is, again, JT Realmuto, everybody else playing behind the plate. And that takes a toll on your knees, which hinders your ability to hit. It's a slippery slope. So Rob Thomson actually came out before the season and said, I'm going to look at different ways to approach JT Realmuto. And I was like, thank God. Been calling for that for years. Has it happened? No, hasn't. I think JT Realmuto's played in 35 of 42 games. Okay, so if I have my numbers correct, 35 of 42. If he's played in 35 games, he has started behind the plate 34 of them. He has played DH one time. You're talking about a guy who has played first base before, who can DH and play catcher. Your first baseman can DH and play right field. You don't really have a left fielder because Brandon Marsh is trash and Max Kepler ain't it. So, I don't know. Am I crazy here to say, like, hey, for a start or two, throw JT Realmuto at first base? Throw Bryce in the outfield? Throw Nick Castellanos either at the DH spot or left field? Maybe I'm nuts. But there's a way to make it work for a game or two where you're not consistently having JT Realmuto back there driving his knees further into the ground in games in April and May and June, so that when the games matter most, he's up there hitting 245, 235, looking like an easy out. He has played the second most innings behind the plate so far this season, only behind Keibert Ruiz. And when today's over, when this ends, barring an injury and assuming that he gets through 9 innings, he will have taken over the lead. I'm kind of dumbfounded by this. It doesn't seem like that difficult of an idea here. It's the most demanding position in all of baseball, and all you've done since you've taken over is start this guy only at that position. Never DH, it seems like. Definitely never at first base. It's catcher, 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 and nothing else. He can play other positions. You took him from one of the best catchers in baseball, if not the best catcher in baseball, to he's okay. He's got a really good arm. And that's what he is now. And you cannot convince me it is not because of his workload behind the plate. Of course he's going to want to play. Have him play DH. Have him play first base. This is ridiculous. Again, to his credit, those are 2 complaints that I have about Rob Thomson. Everything else, gravy. If I really wanted to nitpick, it's the fact that we all know come playoff time, they're going to act like Aaron Nola's number 2 when he's not. Okay, whatever. Is that Rob Thomson? Is that the organization trying to justify a bad $27 million contract? Probably that. But I think if Rob Thomson were to change this, give JT Realmuto more days off, name a solidified closer, come out in the media and say, Jose Alvarado is our closer. Or hell, even Jordan Romano is our closer until further notice. It would do a world of good for this team. But having this okay, we're going to look at matchups and, all right, Romano, you're in the 7th, and Alvarado, you're in the 8th today, but tomorrow you'll be closing out. I don't think it's a long-term solution. And I think you're going to end up looking for bullpen help when in reality, you have the answer already in your bullpen. Do you need setup guys? Absolutely, because this bullpen is bad. But I don't think you need a closer. I think Alvarado is your closer. So that's it. What about you guys? Do you guys have any complaints with Rob Thomson out there? If so, leave them in the comment section. Am I way off base? Do you agree? In a lot of ways, I'm looking for webbed toes on Margot Robbie because this team is really, really good. But these two arguments will never cease to annoy the ever-loving shit out of me because they should have a closer. They have a closer. They refuse to name a closer. And they have a catcher that will once again, if he finishes the season out healthy, will finish the season leading all of Major League Baseball catchers in innings behind the plate. And we all know what's going to happen in October. Hey, but go Phillies! The Dallas Cowboys trade for George Pickens. You know, as an Eagles fan, this one's tough. I mean, how are we going to contend with George Pickens and Deebo Samuel? Same division? Oh, that's right. They have Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. That's how. Forgot about that part. This is the luxury of being an Eagles fan, is when you have your opposing teams in the division make moves for, I mean, top level talent. Like I think Deebo is top level talent. George Pickens could be. You don't care. It's like, oh, that's a cute move. That's adorable. Look at them. Look at them. They made that move. They think that it's going to make a difference. It's not. It's not. Because the Eagles have set themselves up for a decade of Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. I do think that the secondary is going to be hurt by the loss of Darius Slay. Like, I don't think Eagles fans truly realize what a difference he is in the secondary and what a difference maker he was for Quinyon Mitchell. But Quinyon Mitchell was a shutdown cornerback in year one, as my dog walks over to investigate. He was a shutdown cornerback in year one. I think he should have won Rookie of the Year. You think is he going to get worse in year two? Is he going to suddenly forget how to play football? No, not at all. Cooper DeJean, if you remember, he pretty much missed, most of OTAs, like a lot of training camp. So he didn't even take over the role until, week 2 or 3, because Avonte Maddox was not getting it done. And then you had both of those guys be complete studs. So I think the secondary might be a scotch worse than maybe last year in terms of whoever's playing opposite side of Quinyon Mitchell. But Quinyon Mitchell is still going to be on the top level guy. So while George Pickens might get his, CeeDee Lamb ain't getting his. While George Pickens might go off for, 4 catches for 70 yards and a touchdown, CeeDee Lamb will be held in check because either he's got Cooper DeJean or he's got Quinyon Mitchell. Like, I'm not worried. I'm not worried about any move that was made on the offensive side of the football in the division because of this. Because the Eagles have positioned themselves to just be shut down, Alcatraz for the next decade by drafting these two guys and hitting on them. And that's the most important thing, is you hit on them. And this is like the best feeling in the world. I compared what they did with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean to what they did in 2002 with Lito Shepherd and Sheldon Brown. They drafted those two guys. They had Bobby Taylor. They had Troy Vincent. They were setting themselves up for a contingency plan. Once those guys ended up leaving, you end up sliding in Lito and Sheldon. You're good to go. It's better because Lito and Sheldon took 2 years to take over the starting jobs. 2 years after they were drafted, that's when the team let go of Troy Vincent and Bobby Taylor. Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell stepped in right away, making an impact, shutting people down. Like, this is the best case scenario. This is the luxury of what the Eagles did. Where normally I feel like in previous years, whether it be the Cowboys, the Commanders, the Giants, they go out there and they get somebody, like a really, really good, talented, offensive impact player, and I'm like, damn. Well, that's going to be a problem. And now I'm just like kicking back, like, ugh. Have fun, good luck. Like, I don't care. because the defense is so good. Sure, they lost players. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the pass rush, what they do there, what Vic Fangio dials up. They obviously lose Josh Sweat. That's a major loss. Milton Williams, big loss. But like, if Jahad Campbell can be even half of the impact player that Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell were in year one, I'm good with that, right? Like, so are you. You look up and down this line and you just go like, all right, wasn't anything to write home about last year, and they somehow got it done. Yeah, I think we'll be okay. I mean, the most important thing for the Eagles was bringing back Zach Ball, and they did that. And now, how does the division respond? They go out and they get Deebo Samuel, and they go out and they get George Pickens. I'm not saying those moves were bad. I'm not saying that those are bad players. But this is just the luxury of being a Philadelphia Eagles fan in 2025, where you see those moves and you're like, yeah, all right, whatever. Cute, cool, don't matter. Birds still win. Because that's how good this team still is. And I know that people will point to, well, you know, it's divisional game and blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah. Have fun. Have fun arguing with a wall. Because you can't tell me right now that the Philadelphia Eagles are a worse team. Out of all the moves that after, you know, these moves that were made, they're a worse team than the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Commanders. Washington Commanders, who they put, what, was it 37-7? When the game mattered, when it mattered most? I think it was 30, was it 37-7? I lost track of the score. That's how lopsided it was. Jaden Daniels is a stud. An absolute stud. The Dallas Cowboys will find a way to just kind of get in their own way. And they'll win some games. Yeah, and Dak will look good for a game or two. But, like, I'm just not concerned. Because to me, as an Eagles fan, the battle isn't in your division anymore. You're at the top. You're here. Everybody else is out of camera shot. Now, the battle is who's coming out of the AFC. That's the battle for me. That's where I'm looking at. Who would they play in the Super Bowl? Is Buffalo finally get over the hump? Is, you know, Kansas City coming back? Like, because normally you're looking at the division. You're looking at what other team could contend for the division. Well, barring injuries, not really worried about it. Same thing goes for the NFC. Not all that concerned about it. The Eagles are by far the best team still. There's no one that can stop Saquon Barkley. Okay, I apologize. Hey, Spags. Steve Spagnuolo, you did it, bud. You did it. You did stop Saquon Barkley. They can never take that away from you. You know, I mean, they put up 40 points in your defense, but whatever. You know, hey, you did it, though. You did it, Spags. Oh, man. Gotta hand it to you there. Yeah, like, that's the luxury of being an Eagles fan, and it dawned on me when the George Pickens move got made. Yeah, cute, cool, whatever. Move on. I don't care because it doesn't matter because the Birds are still going to roll. So what about you? Are you out there lamenting these moves of Deebo Samuel and George Pickens? Are you as confident as me, or are you a little I don't want to say timid, but you're not as boisterous about it? Are you being Chicken Little? You being a little bitch boy? Being scared? Because I saw that a bunch when it came to the Super Bowl. Oh my God, don't say the word parade. Why? Say it with your chest. They're the best team in the NFL. Oh, you know what they did? They proved that they were the best team in the NFL. But hey, if you're one of those people that thinks that the Eagles are going to be worse, okay. Tell me why. Make sure to subscribe, I guess. That'd be cool. Like, dislike, I don't care. Go Birds.
Sixers fans, we did it. We did it. I mean, the horrible season that we just lived through. The season that was supposed to take us finally over the top. And by over the top, I mean getting out of the second round. Getting Paul George, teaming him up with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Getting some of the key guys back, you know, like Kelly Oubre, signing back Andre Drummond. All of that did not work out. That was an unmitigated disaster. It's all worth it now. Because not only did the Sixers keep their first round pick, they moved up in the draft to number 3. I'll be honest with you. I went to a movie tonight. I had a movie screening tonight for Mission Impossible, and the movie screening was at 7 o'clock. And I am sitting in the theater watching the draft lottery under my hoodie, like this, watching those ping pong balls. I mean, I wasn't watching ping pong balls. I was just watching the dude just do the envelopes. And I'm trying very hard to pay attention to what's on the screen, you know, the plot points and whatnot. But I can't focus because all I can think of is it needs to be top 6 protected. And once they flipped over the card and those first, 8 teams, 8 or 9 teams, whatever it is, were named and the Sixers weren't one of them, it was like, all right, thank God, yes. But then the 6th card came in, and that wasn't Philly. And then the 5th card, and then the 4th, and then the 3rd, and it ends up being. But at that point, you're just like you're pumped. You're getting a top 3 pick, and I don't really know exactly. I mean, obviously, like everybody else, I don't know who they're going to take. You know, they might take one of the Rutgers kids. They might take a Euro. They might take some other kid. I don't know. I'm not going to act like I was glued into college basketball. I'm not going to act like some NBA draft expert. But this is a big, big success for Sixers fans tonight. That you not only kept your pick, you moved up in the draft. Now the work begins. Because the last time the Sixers selected at number 3 overall ended up working out pretty well. I think it was some Embiid guy. Was it Embiid, though? Or was it Okafor? Okay, well, that brings me and segues to my other point. Whether it worked out or not, whether it was Embiid or Okafor, and I'm getting them confused, the Sixers need to hit on this. And I know that sounds like a no-shit Sherlock moment, and it's not like the Sixers haven't had success in the draft, but they have not had success in the lottery. They have not had success when they are taking a top 5 pick, when they are taking a top 3 pick. And I know that you can point to the Cameroonian king, Joel Embiid, as a big success. Yeah, okay, he fell to them at 3. And we all know why. He had the foot surgery. He was going to be number 1 overall by the Cavs. He had the foot injury. He ended up dropping number 3 because Jabari Parker was already slated to go to Milwaukee at that point. The Cavs pivoted. They went with Andrew Wiggins. The guy who was going to be out for a year goes to Philadelphia number 3. But even him, do I call him a success? Well, on the court, yes, he's, I think the most talented basketball player the Sixers have ever had. He's a success. When I look at, though, you need to hit, I'm talking the player development needs to hit. Because the Sixers have failed mightily at player development when it comes to lottery picks and top 3 picks in the draft every single time they seemingly have one. Whether it be Joel Embiid, right? I mean, you draft him and you know he's going to be out for a full year, but what happens? You allow him to end up, I don't know if you can hear my dog in the background, hydrating up. J-Roll, you good, bud? I should stop this video, but I'm not going to. Yeah, he's fine. J-Roll's gotcha day, by the way. No one knows what a gotcha day is. I've learned that today. Everyone's like, what is his what? I was like, it's gotcha day. Like, we got him. You know, we picked him up, like, I don't know, 9 years ago. Anyway, when you look at the Philadelphia 76ers, they know he's going to be out for a year. And what do they allow him to do? They allow him to do pointless, meaningless windmill dunks with no shoes on, which re-breaks his foot, and he's out for 2 years. And then they bring him back on a minutes restriction that made little to no sense. So then they end up getting Ben Simmons. And we all know the problems with Ben Simmons. It's not that he wasn't a good player. It's not that he isn't a good player. I think there is still a good player in Ben Simmons. And for a while, that looked like a massive hit. You looked like you had 2 generational talents, 1A, 1B, in Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. It was the progression of Ben Simmons that we never saw. The development of Ben Simmons. Because this organization allowed these guys to act like clowns. To act like children. Oh, Ben, you don't have to work on a jump shot. Don't worry about it, dude. Ben, you don't have a good jump shot. Don't worry about working on a jump. You don't have a good jump shot. Joel, your diet? Eat what you want, dude. You're so talented. Just eat what... Because in today's day and age, I think, especially when it comes to the NBA, teams are so keen to just keep their uber talented players happy because what they don't want to have happen is what's happening in Milwaukee right now, where Giannis is sitting there already having won MVP awards and a championship and going, yeah, maybe I want to go. Maybe I don't want to be in Milwaukee my entire career. Maybe I want to leave. So what do? They coddle and they cater to whatever these guys want. So if Ben Simmons doesn't want to shoot jumpers, I'm not going to make him shoot jumpers. Don't shoot jumpers. But then when you actually need him to shoot jumpers, he doesn't do it because he's mentally just not there. Because you've been telling this guy for a year that his jumper is broken and don't worry about it because of your analytics system. But then it's, oh my God, like we probably should have focused on helping this dude get better. And they never did. Ben Simmons was arguably a worse player with the Sixers than when he came into the NBA. And I implore anybody to go out there to go watch Ben Simmons highlights from Summer League, his first year with the team, where he was hitting jumpers. And then, he had that foot injury that was only supposed to be out for half the season. And what happened? The Sixers allowed him to miss the entire season, which never happens with that injury. But Ben Simmons wanted to win Rookie of the Year. We'll cater to him. Markelle Fultz. Markelle, if you want to go train with like some rando who thinks your shot is broken, if you want to go train, go ahead. Train with him. Markelle Fultz was never the same. They don't do well when it comes to drafting and developing. Like, they'll draft a Jahlil Okafor and they'll miss on him. And that's fine. That's going to happen. I mean, you could name a bust for every single NBA team when it comes to, like, top 3 picks. But to hit on the right guy, to identify the right guy, and then not to see progression because you're busy doing God knows what with your organization, that is a dysfunctional organization. That's what I can't see happen with the Sixers with this pick. Because I think they have a chance. Like, I really do. I think this could be similar to like when Peyton Manning was out with the Colts that one year and they ended up like kind of lucking into Andrew Luck. I think it could be like that. Like, this team is really talented still. And I know this is like, I sound like Charlie Brown with the football. Like, if Joel Embiid comes back healthy, because clearly he wasn't all season last year, he's the best player in the league. He's the best player, two-way player in the league, Joel Embiid. If he comes back healthy, he's still a problem. Take away Paul George. Like, ignore him, okay? Act like Paul George doesn't exist for a second. Joel Embiid, a better Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain coming back, and then you add in whoever they're taking at number 3. Okay, so now you add in Paul George. Like, if Paul George can figure out how to regain his form, then you've got a really good team. But what I need to see is draft and develop and hit on these guys. Because while I'm pumped as a Sixers fan, they keep their pick and they moved up and they're drafting 3rd overall, the reality is this organization hasn't hit and hasn't developed that pick in a very, very long time. And now's the part of the video where I'll ask you to like and subscribe. Honestly, though, I just need you to subscribe. That's it. I need to get to 1,000, then I'll stop asking people. But yeah, if you could subscribe. Who would you take with the number 3 overall pick? We're going to assume that Cooper Flag is gone to the Mavs at number 1. Who is your ideal pick at number 3? Let me know in the comments section. Go Sixers. UFC 315 is in the books, and we have a new champion in Jack Della Maddalena. I was completely wrong. But make sure you like and subscribe. Just kidding. Well, I mean, it would help if you subscribe. I'm just going to quickly break down all the fights that we witnessed tonight in terms of the main event. And shout out to the Russian website that I used because that card was not worth $80. It wasn't worth $40. I said it before the fight. I said it after the fight. Yeah, I was completely right about that one. But I was wrong on more than a few of these fights. Now, the undercard was pretty good. I mean, it was a good night for Canada. Like, Jasmine Jasdavicius came in, she starched Jessica Andrade in, 2 minutes and cemented herself as a true contender in the division. I still think Jessica Andrade should go down as one of those champions of like, oh yeah, she was a champion, wasn't she? But it was a complete fluke. I mean, and it was. She dropped Rose Namajunas on her head, and I think 99 out of 100 times, 999 out of 100 times, Thug Rose wins that fight. But Jasmine Jasdavicius goes in there and just puts it on Jessica Andrade. It's amazing to me that Jessica Andrade is like the one Brazilian fighter that has no Brazilian ground game. Like, stunning. But either way, Mike Malott, dude, putting it on Charles Radke in Canada, in his home. That was an impressive
impressive victory. I didn't really like the matchup, honestly, because you just have two really good young fighters going at each other. Wasn't a huge fan of that, but the most vicious knockout of the night was the power bar, shutting Bruno Silva's lights out with nasty elbows to the point where Silva had to be stretchered out of the arena. It was so bad. But Marc-Andre Barriot, welcome back in the win column, man, in a big way. The undercard was good. The undercard delivered. The main card, though, I don't know. That's up to you. The first fight of the night we had was Benoit Saint Denis going against the guy that had no business being in there, and he knew that. Charlie, Chuck, Preppick, I don't know. It doesn't really matter because the next time he fights will be some other no-name fighter on the undercard of probably a UFC fight night in the Apex. And that's why he did it. He took this short notice fight knowing full well that he was a lamb getting fed to the slaughter because it would get him another fight. He was doing the UFC a favor by saving the Benoit Saint Denis fight and saving the audience a chance to see Benoit Saint Denis, and that's exactly what happened. And Benoit Saint Denis went out there and did exactly what everybody expected him to do, which was end this fight. I was pretty surprised it went more than a round, honestly. But Benoit Saint Denis back in the win column, and let's see if the UFC uses that to kind of get him and build him back up. I still would like to see the Gene Silva fight. I think that's a way better matchup. I think the minus 1,600 betting odds kind of proves that, but we'll see if the UFC makes that fight. Either way, Benoit Saint Denis back in the win column. I think that's good for the division. Next fight of the night we had, which was one that I was really wrong about. Alexa Grasso goes out there and had no answers for Natalia Silva. And Natalia Silva immediately jumps to the front of the line to take on the still champion, Valentina Shevchenko. Alexa Grasso was running around for her life in that entire fight, trying to catch up to Natalia Silva, and had really no way in. She tried. But Natalia Silva's footwork was something that I completely underestimated. I mean, I was the idiot who said that there were levels to this game and that Alexa Grasso was going to show her that. And that, even though Natalia Silva hasn't lost a fight in like 7 or 8 years, the level of competition has not reached the Alexa Grasso level yet. I really thought Alexa Grasso was going to be able to get a hold of her, take her down. I know Natalia Silva has great, defense, ground game defense, but I still thought, or takedown defense, I still thought that Alexa Grasso was going to be too much for her. I was dead wrong. Hand up, own it. It happens. And Natalia Silva immediately jumps to number one contendership. I mean, she beat the number one contender. So obviously she will be up next for the title shot. There's talks, obviously, of a super fight between Zhang Weili and Valentina. We'll see if that happens. But yeah, I mean, really impressive victory. It wasn't the most exciting fight because I think to someone maybe just watching UFC for the first time or MMA for the first time or second time, it just kind of looked like Natalia Silva was just running around a little bit and kind of avoiding, but she picked and popped her spots, and she frustrated the hell out of Alexa Grasso. And then the broadcast said it. I think that would be a matchup that would frustrate just about anybody, and we saw that. Next fight of the night, we saw Jose Aldo go out there and lose to Amin Zahabi, and lose badly. And what I mean by badly is he won the first round. And you could make a case for round 2, although I thought Zahabi won round 2. Round 3, however, Aldo hurts him bad. Aldo goes for kind of broke. Zahabi survives it, and Aldo is gassed out. How is that possible, Jose? You missed weight. You signed up for a fight at 135. You missed weight so badly that you had to tell Zahabi's team, oh, hey, by the way, we need to fight at featherweight because our guy ain't making the weight. Zahabi still takes the fight. Still takes the fight when he had to cut, 9 pounds more than you, and you're the one gassed out? It kick rocks, dude. I enjoyed watching Jose Aldo lose, even though I thought Jose Aldo would win because, as I said in my pre-fight video, the MMA media, and strictly I'll call them out, MMAfighting.com, the people there, I went on their live stream just to watch it. You would have thought their dogs died. And the excuses that MMA media will make for Jose Aldo, I said it in their chat, I got called out for it, but in their opinion, and they're biased, and that's the thing, but just own your biasness. But in their opinion, Jose Aldo has never lost a fight. He's gotten screwed each time. As soon as I signed on, I have to hear one of their guys, Mike Heck, say, I blame Mario Bautista for this. And if you go back and listen to their post-fight against the Mario Bautista fight, they will make excuses for Jose Aldo, saying, it wasn't an exciting fight. Mario Bautista didn't do much. Jose Aldo deserves to win. They constantly make excuses for Jose Aldo about his quote-unquote retirement fight, which was at Elevation in Salt Lake City against Merab, where he got mauled. They hated that matchup. But yet they thought that he deserved a title shot. Yeah, I think we all know what would have happened if Jose Aldo had gotten a title shot. They just constantly make excuses, and that's what happened. They thought that Jose Aldo won the fight. I thought it was pretty close, but I thought Charles Radke ended up, or not Charles Radke, I'm sorry. Ayman Zahabi ended up winning it. I thought he deserved it. But to see the MMA media, all because this dude fought in the WEC, I get it. I get you have a soft spot for him. He ain't it anymore. And thank God he's retiring. Thank God he's putting his gloves down and saying, I don't have any more. Because it's nauseating listening to, whether it be MMA podcasts or videos or whatever, and they fangirl all over this guy when he hasn't had it in years. But yet I have to hear, he should. Really, he deserves a title shot after that one win. Please. And credit to Ayman Zahabi. He looked like he was done. And, man, he rebounded in a big way. Big way in that fight. And ended up getting the biggest win of his career. And ends up defeating an all-time legend in Jose Aldo. Next up, we had one of my few predictions that was correct was a very, very close victory from Valentina Shevchenko, beating Manon Fiorot, or Fiorot, however you say it. Manon lost, is the point. But I'll tell you what, the heart that she showed after that first round, getting her nose busted in, and continuing to grind away on Valentina was impressive. The fight kind of went exactly as I thought. I thought, Manon's size was going to give Valentina trouble, and it did. I mean, every time Fiorot ended up, I'm going to butcher that name 15 more times. Anytime she ended up pushing her against the fence, she kind of had her way with her. Valentina, though, did a really good job of getting out of it and, landed one takedown, I think, in the first round. But other than that, clinch and control time ended up going to Manon. The problem is she didn't really do a lot with it. So, yeah, close decision victory ends up going to Valentina. You have to give Silva the next shot. I don't want to see Zhang Weili. I'd rather see Silva at this point. But Valentina kind of did Valentina things, and I'll tell you what, her spinning attacks were impressive. Impressively timed, landed, all that. At the end of the fight, I think it looked a lot more lopsided than the fight actually was in terms of if you looked at both fighters' faces. And then we move on to the main event where I was dead wrong. JDM goes in there, gets the victory. We have a new champion. But it was a great fight. It was a really good fight. And what I thought was going to happen was you were going to have Bilal Muhammad go in there and basically just wrestle him for 25 minutes and hold him and push him up against the fence. And then we didn't get that. We got a slugfest. And that was great. That was a great fight. I thought it was a little closer than some of the judges' scorecards. But I think this is good for the division. I think getting JDM in there, holding the belt is good. I thought this was very telling. I said before in my pre-fight video that this fight card was one of the worst of the year, if not the worst. I thought it was worse than 301. The fact that it was charged, $80 for it, joke. I don't know anyone who wanted to watch this fight. I have a buddy that I religiously watch fights with who said, yeah, I'm taking the night off. That's how bad this fight card was. DraftKings, the official sponsor of UFC, didn't have an odds boost for this fight. Every single UFC pay-per-view, if you sign on to DraftKings, they have an odds boost for the pay-per-views. They actively want you to bet on UFC. That's the incentive. Hey, here's an odds boost for a parlay. Have fun, 20%. They didn't have it. And I firmly believe that, unfortunately for him, Bilal Muhammad is one of the reasons why. Bilal Muhammad is your least favorite fighter's least favorite fighter. But I think what happened here tonight is unfortunate because he put on an exciting fight, but he ended up losing. It's unfortunate, but that was an exciting fight. And he won't get credit for it, even though he was one of the participants, because he lost the fight. And I think he's in that range right now where, for a lot of MMA fans, he can't do anything right. I don't have a personal problem with Bilal Muhammad. I have a personal problem with Bilal Muhammad being the main event of a card you're supposed to spend $80 with, and there's nothing underneath. And one of those fights, by the way, is Benoit Saint Denis facing a tomato can, that's an issue. But credit to him, man. Like, he went out there and he put on a performance. Unfortunately for him, it was just on the wrong end. 316 is supposed to be better. I will say, if the UFC does not capitalize on Steve Austin at UFC 316, they are doing themselves a massive disservice. You have an in with the WWE. You need Steve Austin there in some capacity. UFC 316, Austin, it just makes sense. Make it happen. All right? Not rocket science. I'll give you that one for free. Yeah, I don't know. What was your favorite fight of the night? All that good stuff. You can subscribe if you want. You know where that button is. You can hit thumbs up if you want. You know where that button is. Hit thumbs down. I don't really care. But what was the and who's next? Who's next in the division? We all know the UFC ain't giving Bilal Muhammad a rematch. So who is next in the division for Bilal Muhammad? I'm sorry. Jeez. Look, it's late, folks. For JDM. And what matchups coming out of this card are you looking forward to seeing? Yeah, that's it. I'm going to go to bed.